Last week, I became a collegiate Rocket League player. My team is made up of a low grand champion, a champ 2 player, and me. My first practice with my team, I was thrown into grand champion 3v3 lobbies, and as you can see by these clips, I got absolutely destroyed. I felt slow, I never had boost, and I was not hitting the ball where I wanted to. But I had no random teammates to blame. We were in full comms, and both of my teammates were outperforming me. I was the problem. So, instead of wallowing in self-pity, I paid attention, and I took note of the things I was doing wrong. By the end of our session, we were actually able to win a game. We had lost every game before that one. These clips you're seeing are from last Friday, 3 days before the season ended. And after this session, I gave myself one simple challenge. Get Grand Champion in 3v3 by the end of the season. But my peak rank in 3v3 was only Champion 3, which I actually lost the next day right after I got it. This challenge seemed crazy, but maybe it was just crazy enough to actually work. I ended that practice with my collegiate team at 13-16 MMR. I needed to get 199 points before the season ended. Did I pull it off? Let's find out. Rocket League's 14th ranked season has just finished. It started on March 25th and ended yesterday on September 22nd. At the end of season 13, I finished in Diamond 1 at 954 MMR. Getting Grand Champion by the end of Season 14 would be an improvement of 561 points in the 182 days of the season. So, what happened? Well, before my journey began, I had to figure out what I was doing wrong in those Grand Champion games. Why did I feel so slow? Why was I getting lost on the field? What was the real issue holding me back? After paying attention in my games and watching my own gameplay back from that practice session, I determined that the things keeping me out of Grand Champion were simply rotations, boost, and confidence. So instead of mindlessly playing and hoping I completed my challenge, I decided to attack my weaknesses. The primary issue with my rotations was the parts of the field I was using to rotate. I noticed my tendency when coming back from offense was to always use the sides of the field, which makes sense if your goal is big boosts, but we know from the Open Letter to Champ 1's video that the real prize is the small boost pads. There are only 2 small boost pads on the sides of the field. So, how do we fix this? I decided when it was available, I would rotate through the midfield and pick up every small boost pad in sight, and it worked. This clip is a perfect example of the extra options you get by rotating through the midfield instead of forcing yourself to the wall. On the issue of confidence, I decided to become my own worst enemy, the ball chaser. This wasn't meant to be a long-term solution, but I was confident I would be able to climb my way back to Champ 3 without much trouble, so I decided to go for every read and ball that looked like it could be mine. In Grand Champ, players are confident in their ability to read the ball in difficult situations, and they have the boost to attack the ball quickly and confidently. When I played in Grand Champ, I was hesitant to go for difficult reads because I didn't want to mess it up. But when the pace of the game increases, you can't afford to be hesitant. When I started pushing closer to Grand Champ, I wanted to be confident in my abilities. So, I became a ball chaser. And my teammates definitely noticed. And a couple of them actually even had the guts to tell me, which is what I'll show you here. In this clip, a teammate named Fuzzy is getting frustrated at our rotations before he eventually gives up on the idea of them entirely and decides that he's just gonna chase, to which our third teammate says he doesn't care. With fake confidence and midfield rotations in mind, there was only one last thing to do before I went all in on the challenge. I changed my car, and I changed my name. And probably most importantly, I put in hours of warm-up before each session of Ranked. Just like the 80s films once we'll hook up in my backseat and let my best friend drive. That's how your guys' warm-up looks too, right? Anyways, let's get back on track. We started steadily climbing up the ranks. By the end of day 1, we were 1 game away from Champ 3. Shortly into day 2, we solidified our spot in Champ 3. But even though I had reason to be feeling good, it wasn't all fun and games. Throughout this climb, we ran into some of the most toxic players I have ever seen in this beautiful Rocket League community. I'm not sure if it was because the stakes were high for many of the players in Champ 2 and Champ 3, believing that they might have a shot at Grand Champ before the season ended. Who would be stupid enough to believe that? Or if we just kept running into the players who were having a tough day. But I know that I had the pleasure of experiencing all manners of toxicity. From teammates leaving games way before they were over, to forfeit votes started at incredibly questionable moments. Check out this 1-1 forfeit started by a teammate. It was truly tough out there. But nothing could break us. Nothing could stop us. We were determined. And then, we met Mab. I want to introduce you to a character in our story who means way more than he should, and way more than he will ever know. His name is Mab. Mab is a smurf I ran into in a high Champ 3 lobby when Grand Champ started to feel closer than it ever had before. I played with him twice, first as a teammate, then as an opponent. He was not very nice to me when he was on my team, even asking if my ball chasing is helping me find my dad. Sorry you were dragged into this one, Dad. I will ask him to keep you out of it next time. So as I'm sure you would guess, Mab really pissed me off. But I didn't let him know it. I kept my thoughts to myself and moved on. Again, I was locked in and determined. But of course, as these things tend to work out, I noticed his name as I was loading into the next game. But something had changed. He was on the other team. So, I decided to make him pay. Mab didn't play so well in this next game. In fact, I would go as far to say he absolutely mauled before my very eyes. He double whiffed a ball to give us the tying goal that sent the game into overtime, and he whiffed a ball on his back wall in overtime to secure the victory for my team. I had some words for him.
Take that, Mab! You mad now?
A bit cringe, I know, but you can understand how I was feeling. He brought my dad into this, for goodness sake. But the most important thing that Mab did was he set us on an absolute warpath. And that warpath carried us to the final 2 games of our journey. As I was faced with the reality that I was 2 wins away from Grand Champ, I remembered the words of one of my favorite basketball commentators, and I told them to myself before I played these last 2 games. Big time players make big time plays in big time games. So I want to show you some of the big time plays I made as a big time player in 2 of the biggest games of my Rocket League career. In the game where I was 2 games away from Grand Champ, I hit a Cuxer pinch pass to my teammate way down the field to get us on the board. As the clock was ticking down to 0 with the scoreboard at 2-2, I made the greatest save of my Rocket League career, reading a difficult bounce off the corner to block the defender as time expires. And finally, with 0 boost in a dream, I won a 50-50 that forced the ball downfield. I kept my momentum with a wave dash, and I hit a shot over the defender to win the game. No one on that field wanted it more than I did. 1 game left. In the final game, I choked. Hard. I was nervous. I played timid, and I let the reality of the situation get the best of me. But I refused to give up. I refused to get frustrated with myself. I stayed focused. I remembered what I had set out to do. And I did the best I could to give my teammates a chance to win the game. And they went and did it. With 54 points on the board, I became a grand champion. Oh my god. How many points did I have? I think I had like 40 points. I got it. I had 54 points. Let's go, dude. Let's go. Challenge complete. With 991 hours to my name, I became a Grand Champion Rocket League player. And I was able to do it before Season 14 ended. This moment has been a dream of mine ever since I learned the ranks in Rocket League. I never thought I would make it here. I never thought I would be able to call myself a Grand Champion. And I even got my wins. Puffle will now be forever known as a Season 14 Grand Champion. Dream big enough, and you just might get there too. Thanks for watching.